Mother's Day is coming up. So this month our theme is about mothers and how we can encourage one another as mothers. So why don't you kick off? I know you've got one or two things on your heart that you wanted to share, and we'll just see where this goes.
Cool. Yeah, I think it is, and it came up in our live stream the other day, that moms struggle with juggling time for themselves, time for the husband, times for the children. A lot of us these days are working from home as well. So, the concept mother is a huge one. But I think for us being Christian believers, it takes us right back to what the word says, is that we are to love our husbands, to love our children, and be busy in our own home. And if we look at it from that perspective, it helps you kind of trim off all the periphery around being a mother. We don't have to be the best mother on Instagram or, have the largest Facebook following for our health business. That's not mother. Mother is that presence that we are in our home with our children. And I thought that we might want to unbundle a little bit about Charlotte Mason's quote that Karen Andriola built the whole mother culture movement around. And because I think it's interesting how we as homeschool moms, we are growing alongside our children because we weren't homeschooled. So we are learning things and cultivating ourselves right next to them as we go. What about that? I think that's a good discussion topic.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to have front of mind when you are homeschooling, because you're a role model. And so you need to be showing curiosity and ongoing learning alongside your children, whether it's things that you're interested in separately from what they're learning, or whether it's learning the same things with them. I don't think that matters, as long as you are sparking that interest and being that role model.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So there's a lovely quote by Charlotte Mason. I'm going to read it because it's long. She says, if mothers could learn to do for themselves what they do for their children when these are overdone, we should have happier households. Let the mother go out to play. If she would have the courage to let everything go when life becomes too tense and just take a day or half a day out in the fields or with a favorite book or in a picture gallery, looking long and well at just 2 or 3 pictures, or in bed without the children, life would go on far more happier for both children and parents. The mother would then be able to hold herself in wise passiveness and would not fret her children by continual interference, even of hand or eye. She would let them be. She says, so the context of that really is that if we train our children in good habits, then we can actually remove ourselves from the do, don't all the time, whether it be in your homeschooling, whether it is in the chores, whether it is in the sibling rivalry or, relational things. We've taught them how to be, and we can pull away. And that's what that wise passiveness means, is that I can be more of a mother and less of a teacher, which is really what I think our hearts are as moms when we have these kids, to actually just engage with them on a different level, to always telling them what they have to do and what they can't do, and time for phonics, etc. Do you have any thoughts about that quote before I just wax lyrical for hours?
No, I do. I think if a mom needs time out, and we all do need some rest time just to refresh ourselves, to just pursue things that we're perhaps interested in on our own, and like the quote said, just to read or go for a walk or whatever, that's good. But we have to have also trained our children so that when we leave, peace reigns. We can send them out to play if we want to just sit in bed and read a book and know that they're going to be playing and getting along more or less okay. I mean, they will squabble and they will do things, but there's not going to be chaos.
Yeah.
And so we need to train our children so that we can go out for half a day and leave them with dad or grandma or the neighbor or somebody, so that we can do things that fulfill us.
Yeah.
And I think how that looks is different in different seasons. So, a mom with a newborn is not going to just dump that baby for a day and go off on a shopping spree. Your baby then goes with you. And I can remember for many years feeling so burdened of everywhere I went. I've got the nappy bag and I've got the toddler or the baby, and often in a wrap. And once or twice when I could leave the child, it was like, oh, I'm free. Like there's nothing on me,
Yeah.
no one on my hip, no bag over my shoulder. I could just like dash to the bank or the post office or do errands without a baby. So I remember that feeling of, oh, I've always got somebody with me, but the seasons pass very quickly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, with a small baby or a toddler, your play will possibly involve having them tag along with you, but you can leave older children. And, in different seasons, you're going to have more freedom and more time to leave them because they are older. So I think a person must just always bear that in mind.
Absolutely. And so the other thing that talking about training your children in the habits so that you can go is that if you feel like if I don't get out of here, I'm going to pop my clogs because my children are so out of control and they're always grumbling, etc. The problem actually lies with mom. The problem's not the children. I know that sounds a bit harsh, but it's not to pass a terrible judgment on parents. But if you feel like you have to escape mom from your children all the time, then it means that you're probably not training them correctly. And what you might want to do is actually do the complete opposite. There used to be a lovely website years ago called Tomato Staking. It was a parenting website, and it had so many lovely ways to tomato stake your child to you. So if you've got kids that are really, really squabbling, is to pull them in instead of push them away. Instead of you running away, say, okay, what is missing here? Why is this such an issue? And go right back down and train and get those habits in place so that you can say to them, I'm going to take an hour, I'm going to make a cup of tea and I'm going to go and sit outside. You're welcome to come and play with me. But for now, play around. But for now, if you don't want to, it's fine. I'm just going to go and read my book. Or if you into, handcraft, I really, really tried to get into handcraft as part of my whole mother culture journey. I was terrible at it. I think I took about a year and a half to knit a pair of socks. But anyway, I did try.
You did gardening exceptionally well.
Yeah, and that was my thing. My gardening and my hiking. That's where, and I pull my children into that even now as young adults. I always invite them to come in. But those were my things, discovering our space. But the point is that we want to make sure that we have trained our children so that we can take those moments. And it's not like every week that we have to go and do something. It's to find the little moments of mother culture that I can create in my day. Even sometimes it's just standing looking at a sprinkler watering my garden that I love. Reading a book, my quiet time in the morning, those sort of things. Do you have any other little practical things that you do? Because you've still got younger children and older children. How do you find your little spaces to breathe in the day, cultivate yourself and your own interests?
That's quite a difficult question just offhand because it's changed. In different seasons, I've done different things, taken different hobbies. I think at the moment, what I do is, especially on weekends, I try and stay away from screens and then I'll read, or I'll just go out and, I've got a thing for old stuff in secondhand shops. I love just looking at old pretty things. So sometimes I'll do that, go to one or two secondhand shops and just browse the stuff that's there. It's like my little time out if I'm doing errands. But in other seasons, I used to get together with two girlfriends on a regular basis and we used to scrapbook. And at one point, we even did it one evening a week and on a Saturday. And then on a Saturday, our kids would come along and the children would play and the moms would just have a bit of fellowship and do something that was creative. It was rewarding. We were working with photos of our children. So we were loving our children without even having to have them necessarily with us.
Yeah.
And that season came and went, but there are things like that I've done in at different times. And through the day to day, I often used to find I would have the most sort of time to think. standing at the sink washing dishes, because it's such a mindless job that nobody's there. Nobody wants to join you while you're washing dishes because it's a chore. But actually, that was just like a sort of therapeutic time where I could just think through issues or relationship issues, or think over what I've read, or just make plans. And it was just a time of the day where there's nothing else to do but just enjoy your quiet thoughts. So I think a person just has to find those moments, or in the shower, there's nobody there with you. Just stand there and enjoy a few quiet moments.
And I think that's the point, is that when we are truly embracing motherhood, and loving our children in this way of home educating, that we have to find those small moments just for ourselves to regroup and to think and to lay out concerns or whatever, pray. I always love the story of Susan Wesley. I think she had 23 children. And when she was overwhelmed, it didn't matter where she was, she would take her apron and just flap it over her head, and she would just pray. And her kids knew right now, Mom's praying, and they would like literally stop in their tracks. So, I mean, I don't have 23 children, and she was obviously a wiser woman than me. But the thing that maybe in closing that we can say is that when we are homeschooling our children and we are using a Charlotte Mason approach, with the very broad way that she approaches education, using living books and nature study and music appreciation and art appreciation, we naturally cultivate our own interests and our own personality and our own skills right alongside our children. It's not like we really have to go out and do a linguistics course or a art course, whatever. We're doing it already in our home. So just finding those extra little times just to decompress and read a book, etc. That's kind of, finding that the balance between the two. Is there anything you want to add in closing?
No, I think that was a good topic, and I'm even encouraged myself just by thinking about it again and realizing that, I'm growing and I need to keep that growth going. So
absolutely, yeah. We want our children to one day need us, and we haven't grown. We've kind of like stagnated, back there with the toddlers. So yeah, lovely. Good chat. Thanks, Joel.